Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the Dojo Live recap show. Today is Monday, February 15th, 2021. I'm Tulio Sergusa, broadcasting from Southern California, and I'm joined by Carlos Ponce in Cuernavaca, Mexico. Hey, Carlos, welcome back.
Thanks, Tulio.
So happy President's Day, everyone. I know a lot of people have the day off in the US. We do as well, but we are so devoted and dedicated to Dojo Live. We didn't want to miss out doing the recap show, especially since we had 3 shows last week. So we're going to try to do that inside of 10 minutes. All right. So here we go. The first show was titled AI and Machine Learning Revolutionize Consumer Packaged Goods. We spoke with Yaniv Sarik, who's the co-founder and CEO at the Mohawk Group. The second show we had was with Mark Boyle, who's the CEO at Scribe, and the title was Using Technology to Improve Productivity, Profitability, and Patient Care for Healthcare Providers. And finally, we spoke with Hugo Bone Anderson and Matthew Rocklin at Coiled, and the topic was Scalable AI for Everyone. So, Carlos, I'd like to tackle the most difficult, most challenging thing every day. So I'm going to tackle the last one we had because it was very technical, right? I mean, even for me, it was a challenge to try to grasp what was going on. But I think the clear thing that came out in terms of scalable AI for everyone is historically banking or financial services has led the way in using machine learning and these kinds of initiatives to improve how they serve their clients. But it's been a closed garden scenario. So from an enterprise perspective, there's been a lot of dependency on a lot of hardware and a lot of networking communications to link up these various systems to communicate with each other, to get access to as closely as possible to real-time analytics. But what they've done with Coiled is essentially introduce the concept of open source for Python developers, which is the primary stack for a lot of these initiatives. And what's interesting is that most developers are already there. They've gone in that direction, but the enterprise has not created a vehicle to enable that out of concern for security, for connectivity. So they've created a platform that essentially removes that barrier. So now making it possible for enterprises to go and reach out and provide the types of platform that developers need to be effective at their jobs without being a conflict in terms of how they're doing it. So that's what I grasped from that show. I hope anybody who missed it should check it out. If you're a Python developer or any kind of developer, that's going to be an interesting show too. These guys were very tech. Even I had a hard time with it. I've been in tech 31 years. So, but love the end, what they represent and what they're doing, which is basically democratizing AI for everyone in the enterprise. Which of the other shows stood out for you, Carlos?
Well, Tulio, definitely the one with Yaniv Sarik. I hope I pronounced it correctly. And it's interesting to see how companies that are actually using software to create a number of opportunities for themselves. In this case, in the case of consumer packaged goods, or CPG, as I recall that the guest told us, what the acronym was. And it's interesting to see how these companies are even creating probably new niche. How do you say that? Niches or niches? Niches for themselves, because they're actually on the verge of coming up with a new totally business unit, a totally separate business unit, like creating a software as a service or a platform that they can make money out of, that creating additional sources of revenue, that kind of thing. So, and we've seen this happen in previous shows with companies that are similar in nature, companies that are either manufacturing or producing items for the mainstream consumer segment. I think it's interesting to see how he literally said to us something like, we're not in the business of creating software, but we could. That's what I got at the message, was we could do that if we wanted to. So that was like sort of like the underlying message right there. So, and I can sense that there are a lot of companies out there that are similar to the Mohawk Group, and that are in this particular space, and they're just about to go boom with creating additional business opportunities for them in the software excuse me, in the software space specifically. So that's what stood out for me. And what do you think about that one, Tulio, in
Yeah.
particular with the one with the Mohawk Group?
Though there's one quote that Yaniv made that stood out. It says, he said, if you're not a software company, there's a software company coming after your business.
Yes. Uh-huh.
And it was interesting because it used to be there was a clear demarcation between a company that was a consumer packaged good company and a software company. Software companies made money from licensing their software, right? From users licensing their software. But now you've got companies that are making money using software, right? So what's interesting about these guys is they've done a unique disruption, which we're seeing a pattern. Instead of just introducing a platform that they can go and license to any other consumer packaged goods company, they're actually manufacturing and producing products and then selling them on these platforms and undercutting their competitors because they have the ability to compete by reducing the costs, right? You can't set the price bar above what the consumer is willing to pay. So the only thing you can control is everything that happens below that, which is cost. And with software and just-in-time inventory and more and smarter, efficient technologies, these companies gain a competitive advantage in their operating margins, which enables them to essentially disrupt that marketplace. It'll be interesting to see what happens in the next 5 years, probably 5 to 10 years, to major consumer packaged goods companies that rely heavily on stores and retailers to sell their products when a lot of these companies are emerging to go direct to the consumer. It'd be interesting to see what happens. What about the conversation with Mark Boyle at Scribe? I thought that was an interesting one as well.
Well, I wasn't present in that particular one, Tulio, but just this morning I was, and might be related to what the conversation was about. And I saw this story about a gentleman who's confined to what's it called, like a breathing unit, because he had some problems when.
Respirator.
Yeah, but the thing is that his problem goes back to a time when there was no vaccine for the polio, so he was paralyzed. So he had to breathe, right? So he had to breathe. He had to use breathing aids, but the point is that this person, even though that he was completely paralyzed from the neck down, he was able to do a number of things and great accomplishments in his life, like going to college, becoming a very successful lawyer with building a business around his law, and it all, everything that he used was through voice, right? So and not only while he physically using his mouth, to maybe grab a pen to sign something, but also just speaking, and how using his voice turned into speech, turning into commands. And I think that we've seen a lot of cases like this, like the ever-present Stephen Hawking, for example. So I see that's one of the things that me as someone who's perfectly healthy, it's like, wow. I mean, I really, I cannot be but more than mesmerized by the advances in medicine, in tech, in health technology. So I look forward to watching this one, because to be honest, I haven't had a chance to do so. But that's based on the topic itself. I think that's what definitely would look forward to in a conversation like this one. So you were there present.
Look, I think what's apparent to me is that the user experience is evolving beyond just a nice interface.
Right.
With voice, that introduces a whole new element of user experience. So a healthcare provider can use their voice to dictate what equipment's been used, what care has been given, which ultimately provides better services, better capability for the patients. So if you guys have missed the show, you can check them out on the site. You can also use the search box on the site. You can type any topic you like. Chances are you'll find something you like. Carlos, what do we got coming up this week?
Tomorrow, we'll be speaking with Dmitry Karpov and Keith Abramson, Chief Innovation Officer and VP of Sales, respectively, at Electronique with NEEK. And then on Thursday, we're going to be speaking with Jordan Wexler, the CEO of Earlybird, right here on Dojo Live at noon Pacific.
Great. Stay safe, everyone. See you again soon. Take care.